from Jessica Oates. So she is our mortgage broker and she is with DLC Harmony Mortgage Group. And upon joining our chapter, it was immediately evident that she was going to be an invaluable resource for everyone. So she's a mother to twin 4-year-olds who keep her on her toes. And Jessica feels that keeping them alive on a daily basis is a significant accomplishment. As a parent myself, I completely agree with her. There are numerous steps involved in purchasing a home, most of which are very complicated. Jessica has positioned herself as an expert in the mortgage process, which helps take some of the stress off for her clients. So this allows her clients to focus more on their dreams of purchasing a home or other property, and then to approach the market with confidence in what they're going to be able to achieve. Jessica is a licensed mortgage broker, finds the right solution for each individual client. So whether you're purchasing or refinancing, you're self-employed, seeking a reverse mortgage, or looking to pull equity from your home, she has access to alternative lending options as well as the standard purchase and renewal options out on the market. But let's hear from Jessica. She's going to do a much better job explaining who she is and what she does and how we can help her with her business.
Well, thank you, Craig. That was a lovely introduction. And yes, keeping the kids alive on a daily basis is definitely a massive feat. I'm going to share my screen here. I don't know if I'm actually allowed though, Craig. I don't think I have capabilities. Oh, never mind. It's letting me.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, hold on. My apologies, everyone. It is not doing what I asked it to do. There we go. Awesome. So thank you again, everyone. I am your feature presentator. My name is Jessica with DLC Harmony Mortgage Group. I have been a mortgage broker now since just before the pandemic. It's been an interesting ride so far. We definitely saw how the pandemic affected the world and mortgages that first kind of year. People were holding their breath. They didn't really know what they wanted to do. And then the world exploded in 2021. And I've been pretty much running since, February 2021, when everyone decided that they still wanted to buy. We've seen the market do a little bit of correcting in the last few months with prices on homes coming down a little bit, rates going up. But with that, people are still buying, which is still a really, awesome, positive thing. But what I wanted to talk to you today about is, what does a referral to me look like? I hope this helps you kind of knowing what I do, how I treat people. I hope it help you understand, where I come from and how I really want your clients to feel taken care of. So as you can see, my contact information is up on the screen. I work evenings and weekends. I'm always available. I don't not answer my phone. And if I don't answer for whatever reason, I call them back pretty much right away. So what does a referral to me look like? So first, if you refer to me via the BNI app, I do send an email within a few hours of receiving that, touching base, letting them know who I am, who referred me to them, making that connection, letting them know what I do and what they can do if they have questions. We then set up either a call or a virtual appointment where I go through the application with them, or I send them all the application details, including the link and documents needed. This is super important. That first initial contact is really important to me because I understand the responsibility and trust that my BNI partner are instilling in me when referring someone to me. And I want them to know that they're being taken care of, their clients, their families, their friends, whoever they've sent over to me. I want them to feel like I'm right there with them. If a referral is made via social media, I do try and respond to the comment if I'm part of the group. And then I do send a private message just letting them know that I was referred on their post. I really would love to help them. If they have not connected with a mortgage broker already. I don't step on toes. I don't steal clients. If someone's already working with a mortgage broker, I don't poach. If they are working with a mortgage broker that they're not happy with, I try and instill, have you spoken to them about your issues? I don't ever just take a client that's unhappy unless that mortgage broker has totally messed up their situation and I can tell they're really frustrated. And at that point, and only then, if they have not signed any documentation, will I take on an additional client. because I feel like that's really important. I don't poach. It's not my not my cup of tea. If an email referral is sent, I do respond to my referral partner in the email, and then I do send a separate email with contact information, link information, document information. And that includes, like I said, link, info about me, how I can help them, and then just going through the application process, that kind of thing. We kind of start from scratch. I always make sure that they have all the info that they need. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually share my screen and show you exactly what an application with me looks like, because I think that's really important for you guys to know. And I think it's important for you to know exactly, what they're going to be asked for. And I want to show you now. Awesome. So when they click the link to the application, they're going to come to this homepage, and we're going to confirm that we want to start a new application. From here, you're going to see a whole bunch of little boxes pop up on the left-hand side, and they're going to be asking for personal information. Here we go. And pretty much it's super straightforward. They've done a huge revamp of our site, of our application process, which I think has been really helpful. They've used super clear, easy to understand language. They've tried to take it away so that there's no guessing, you know exactly what you're trying to do. So just getting started, we're going to pretend that we're buying a property, and no, we have not found a property that we want to buy. We're looking in a $500,000 price point, and I have $40,000 down. So it automatically does the math for me. And then this all comes through on my end, which is super, helpful. What do we want to do with it? Do we want to rent it out? Do we want to live with and, rent out the basement? That's what they're going to be looking for, mortgage helpers, that kind of thing. So I'm going to be personally living in it, and I don't have a realtor. So now it asks, do you want me to help you find one? Which is really helpful, because if they do, I can connect them to Michelle. If they don't have a realtor, then that's great. If they do, then when I click yes, did you refer us to us? Yes. And then they want their information. If they did not refer you to us, then that's fine. We're going to go through to the next step. Let's just pretend there's just one of us on the application. If there's more than one, it goes through asking for everyone's information. If they don't, if it's you and like a parent or somebody else that's being added to the application, you can actually send them the separate link, so they can only just fill in their information and you don't have to see any of their information, which is really helpful. So I'm going to pretend my name. I did this last night. I made up a pretend name, so I knew what I was doing today. I just want you all to know that. And then we're going to pretend that we've got my email and my phone number, because you have to have your contact information in. We're going to ask you for all of your lovely info. And if you're married or single, if you are divorced, it is going to prompt you and let you know that we will require your separation agreement, which is super important, because we need to know if you're paying out any sort of like child support, alimony, or if you're receiving anything, if you're on the receiving end of those, because we do consider those as income, a percentage of those, which can definitely help your application. We ask you if you have any dependents, so that's any kids under the age of 18. And if you do, it will ask for ages. If we want to type in our information, it's going to ask us what our current address is. I did this last night. We're going to live in Alberta today, because, why not? After it decides it wants to load. This is also a new feature on our application, where it actually preloads the information for the application and doesn't actually make you type in every single box if it wants to load for me. Oh boy, is it going to load? Am I doing too many things at once?
Maybe type in the first letter of the address, the street.
I don't know if it's going to let me.
Like it has too many 1, 2, 3s to search.
I'm just going to use an address that I know, and we'll see. No, okay, we're going to just type it manually. It's fine. We're just going to make it work for us. See? I told you I'm doing way too many things at the same time, and it's going to tell me that I'm going too fast. All right. Well, since, computer problems, we love them. Let's just see if it will refresh for me. And you're going to hear my minions in the background as well, because they're all awake now behind me. All right, Let's try this one more time. And then it's going to ask you for your street type and your city and your postal code. And do you live in it? Do you own it? If you do own it, it's going to prompt you for mortgage statement information. If you say you live with your parents, if you rent, it's going to ask you for your rent amount. We do ask for 3 years of address history, which is important because we need to make sure that we have all of that entered. And then this is a super fun page for us. So this has also been updated recently. So if you're an employed person, it is going to ask you about your employment. If you're currently employed, if they want us to collect the documents on your behalf. And then it's going to ask you for your information. Sorry. And then it's going to ask you if you work full-time, part-time, if you receive, bonuses, overtime information. Again, we do need 3 years minimum of job employment. So if you don't have 3 years, it's going to prompt you for previous employment after your current. And if they want us to get documents on their behalf, then this is kind of where you do that. If not, then we're going to ask you to send it all to us. The nice thing is that once I enter my main employment, if I receive a Canada Child benefit, I can go back and add that in because that is considered as income. If you receive spousal support, if you're unemployed or retired or survivor benefits, you can add all of that information in at the same time, which is really helpful for me because then I kind of get to see the whole picture when the application comes in. If for some reason you enter anything, then it just comes blank to me. And then I just contact you, let you know that I need information from you. And then from here, you're going to enter in your bank accounts. If I don't want to connect anything, I don't have to. If I do want to connect, then it can show me their down payment accounts, which is really helpful, depending on where they're going to be getting, if they have assets, if they're getting a gift from family, we can do all of that. Because assets are super important for us to show the lender what do they actually own in their life, because the lenders want them coming to the game with something in, some skin in their teeth, right? We want to make sure we have something that they own. So do you own any of the properties? No. Anyone recommend us to us? This is where they're going to ask us about referrals. We want to make sure we're thanking the people that send your clients to us so that can all be tracked. And then from here, pretty much what you do is hit continue, and then you would hit submit. If you needed to leave this page for any reason, we do have this awesome feature now where you can save for later, which is great because sometimes people don't have all the information that they need in front of them. We want them to be able to come back and continue it later, which previously we weren't able to do. If you quit out of the application at any point, you were done. You could not come back for any reason. You had to start over, which was terrible and a huge pain in the neck for our clients, which was, awful. We want them to be able to come back and actually gain access when they have a time to actually sit down and do it. We don't want them to feel like they're having to rush and complete information that they're not, able to get in that exact moment. So that's a quick little run through of what an application process with us looks like. And I just wanted to, again, pop my contact information up in the chat in my screen here. If you have questions, I'm reachable via social media. Your clients can find me there, email, text, call, whatever works. And does anybody have any questions?
A great presentation. And I really like that you've given us a bird's eye view of what our clients that we refer to will go through. The application process, is that a link you send to them to fill out on their own, or is that something you do with them, or a little bit of both?
It can be both. Normally what happens is I send an initial application, which has a link to the application, but in that email I say, if you do not feel comfortable doing this on your own, we can set up a time for either a video call where I can go through and do it on screen with them, or I can do a 45-minute phone call where I go in and I get all the information that I need for the application, where they can just provide those details over the phone to me, whatever is easier. Because I deal with a lot of clients that don't feel comfortable using computers always, or they're a little bit older, they don't own a computer. It is phone friendly. So if they do have an iPhone or any sort of smartphone, they can do it on their phone.
Perfect.
But sometimes they just want to talk to me instead, which is totally fine.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. And you mentioned something else there about, them providing the documents or you getting the documents on their behalf. So I'm assuming that's the authorization, and then you go directly to the banks and to get their information?
Yes. So we have a whole bunch of systems kind of encrypted into the site where if they enter their bank account information, they link their bank accounts, we can actually request a 90-day statement for their down payment account, which is really helpful instead of them having to provide that to us. As well as when they complete the application, they receive an email which links them to a portal where they can upload documents into the portal, which get automatically sent through to our system. Those documents are then downloaded as like a zip file that I can unzip and actually see all the individual documents that they've entered. We also have a program that connects them to the CRA that releases documents on their behalf. But currently that program is under review as a CRA has decided they don't want to allow the company to retrieve those documents on their behalf. So right now it's on pause, but we're really hoping we get those programs back shortly. They were a really, really awesome way for clients to provide documents without having to hunt them all down.
Oh, nice. So you've got a lot of cooperation from all the banks and financial institutions then.
Yeah. We've had this particular program we use, it's called Velocity. We've had a ton of upgrades in the last 12 months. Like we were able to do more than half of the things we can do now. We weren't able to get like documents on their behalf. We weren't able to have like a portal system where they can upload the banks and everything that have really come together to make the process so much easier for the clients. It's been so helpful.
Oh, well, that's really slick. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's been really, really great. It's a really awesome tool that we're able to give our clients that makes the process a lot easier for them. We're all about making it as easy as possible because mortgages are already really hard. Awesome. Well, thanks, Linda, for your questions. Does anybody else have any questions? If not, I'm going to pass it back to Craig.
I had a question for you, Jessica.
Awesome.
I'm just wondering if what you're seeing the most of in your business right now are people trying to get in and buy like their first home, or is it refinances, or is it people trying to lock in rates? I'm just curious what the busiest part of it is right now.
Right now, it's actually purchases. What we saw is at the beginning of the year, we had a lot of people do like rate holds, and a lot of people are putting those rate holds to work right now, getting the purchases actually completed before the rate holds expire. We are actually seeing a downturn right now of people actually coming in to do new rate holds or new purchases. Everyone kind of seems to be waiting to see what the market's going to do. So we actually are seeing a little bit of a switch right now to the refinance world. People writing off like higher interest debts into their mortgage because even though rates have gone up, to them it's still lower because they were probably already dealing with a 19% interest rate on a credit card. We can roll that into their mortgage and do it at a 5% or a variable, which is, right around 3.2, 3.4, which is quite a bit lower than what they were probably previously paying. So we're really seeing a shift right now into the refinance world. But that's an awesome question. Thank you.
Okay, can I ask a question too?
Yeah.
I'll ask the uncomfortable question. So do you have what do you do with clients that they go through the mortgage approval process and then they get declined for one reason or another? What happens after that process, and what's your kind of after approval methods there?
Sorry, so what do I do with them after they come to me from someone else?
No. So let's say you put the mortgage application through to get them a mortgage, and for some reason they don't qualify. What happens after that point?
Okay, sorry, I totally didn't understand, but I do now. So we have access to alternative lenders and private lenders. So if they don't fit the standard lending guidelines, we do have options to give them outside of that standard world. If for some reason they don't meet the alternative guidelines, which means that they have to have a minimum of 20% down, that's the big one that we see, then what we would do is we would come up with a plan to either help them pay down their, get their credit corrected if the credit is an issue. And that's the thing that's stopping them from actually being able to do standard lending. We would help them figure out how are we going to correct your credit so you can access standard lending. If they're able to access alternative lending, which is normally what we end up seeing, either a parent gifts them money to help them with that 20%, then what they would do is we would then access the alternative kind of lending side, finding a lender that fits them under those guidelines, and we'd be able to kind of proceed under those terms. Private is also an option that we see a lot of. We have access to both. They're called mix or just standard privates. So we have access to both, which is really, really great with my brokerage. So really, like, we do have options after they've been told no by a standard bank, but we can pretty much tell as soon as we see the application if they're going to be able to access standard or alternative lending.
Cool. So if you know, right at the beginning, and I did have I figured you were going to say something where, you know, during the application process, you might already kind of have an idea of whether or not they're going to get approved or not. So if they're not going to get approved, if they don't have enough, you know, maybe it's their debt service ratio, do you refer them to other people to work with them, or do you just I don't know what the other option is. So
I guess it depends on what level they're being not approved on. If it's just a matter that they need more money, then, you know, we would explain to them that their down payment is short. At that point, they would be referred either to like Brandon as the financial kind of planning seat, where I would say, hey, work with him. He is, you know, he's really great. He'll help you with your budget. He'll help figure out how to save some more funds. If it's strictly credit related, we don't work with any specific credit fixers. We're able to kind of give base level advice where we're saying, you know, this seems to really be hurting your credit from what we can see on your report. Pay this down, wait 90 days. Normally, that's kind of where we see the corrections really start to take place. And then we'll rerun your credit at that point and see if it's corrected and if we can proceed. You know, there's if it's just strictly like, you know, they don't have enough income, we look at a guarantor option. Do they have a parent or an immediate family member we can pop onto the application with them? We have different ways of kind of each issue can be addressed. It's just a matter of what exactly is the problem.
I like
Figuring
it.
that out.
I like it. Thanks for your answer, Jessica. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, everyone. Thanks for the great presentation and lots of great questions, Jessica. We are going to move along.